Alliance, he is the beast from Hollywood East, Michael the Hammer Mulligan.
Hey folks, Michael the Hammer Mulligan here with Shane the Future Mulligan. What's up, Shane?
How you doing?
It's been a while. We haven't done a show in a while. Market's been really hot out here in downtown Plymouth and Bourne, and we've been building and selling, so we really haven't had time to do any shows. But now we're back. I'm re-inspired. We got our new cage down here at Hard Knocks Hollow in the cellar. Shane's going to have some of the elite trainers over here showing them what's what, right?
Yeah, baby.
All right, so let's tell everybody what happened to your knee a little bit so they can catch up with Future's past.
All right, so I had a fight lined up in January. I was cutting for a 170 fight. It was my first time cutting there since I think sophomore year in wrestling. And yeah, I was training the Monday night before the Friday night fight after a long camp, and I just kicking pads regularly, trying to get down on weight with Loco, and I threw a kick and I felt the pop right here. So I walked it off thinking, I'm fine now. I threw another and it actually, it snapped. My meniscus snapped and I got a bucket tear. So that means kind of like a bucket handle, it flips underneath to the opposite side. So my knee was locked just like this. I couldn't straighten it. I actually had to get carried to the truck by Perry and Chip. And the next morning they gave me emergency surgery just so I can straighten out my leg, which it's doing pretty good now. So yeah, now my leg, I've been working with Mark now after 6 weeks of crutches.
Featherstone?
Yeah. After 6 weeks on crutches and 6 weeks in Bay Safe physical therapy. We hooked it up real nice. It feels great now, but I was able to walk and stuff, so finally I was like, you know what, I think I'm ready for Coach Mark Featherstone the Beast, and he has me squatting, he has me doing killer leg workouts that make any fighter win fights now. So, yeah.
So now explain a little bit. I know you did the therapy, but when you went to Mark, he had some specific things. What did he do? He like worked one leg like twice as much?
Yeah, with the squat machine and with the leg press, he had me working just this one leg, like extra reps, maybe a couple sets on this, and then I would do my actual double leg workout. And after I think 3 sessions with him on that, he looked at me and said, they're looking about even, and I ended up doing the fighter leg workout, which is a lot more intense, I think, and a lot more painful afterwards. So, yeah, I mean, I feel fine after that. It felt great, and I'm just happy I'm back. Yeah.
Yep. Nice. Now I'm a very skeptical person when it comes to that stuff about who to send them to and stuff. But Mark, I trust with my kid's life basically because he's been with us for a long time since Shaney. You know, we got Mark years and years ago to start working with Shaney and basically design a program for him that works for his fighting career. The dropping weight thing Shaney went for, you know, he started off, he was for a senior year, he was like at 205 and he dropped to 195 to fight. Then he dropped to 185 he dropped to 195 to wrestle. And then when he started fighting his amateur career, he dropped to 185. So he started going for the 170. This happened. So now what do you think? We staying at 185?
Yeah, I plan on fighting at 185. What I have been doing, I've been at the gym constantly. I'm trying to get to a point where I can be 185 of complete like lean. I don't want to have to be able to cut. I'd like to be able to walk around comfortably at my weight and just fight from there. I mean, you train at that weight, you get so used to it, and then you have to cut the last week, and then you feel all drained, and you start thinking too much, and starts emotionally like mentally playing with your game, I think, but.
So your goal is to basically stay right around the 190, 185 mark and fight at that. No big stripping weights anymore.
Yep.
Yeah. And that worked for you anyways. You know, and I understand a lot of people do. They strip down a lot of weight before fights and stuff, but I see them get drained as well, but some do well. But for you, I watched you go through your whole wrestling career basically underweight. I mean, even that year where he got up to 205 with Mark, before he went and started to rip down for wrestling. By the time he was done at wrestling camp, I think his first wrestling match as a senior, he had to cut 4 or 5 pounds.
I had to cut 10 pounds for the first one.
Right. After that, it was gone.
After for the second meet, I was 188, I think, the whole rest of the season. I could wrestle 195. They would always tell me, go to the gym, go to the gym. I just couldn't.
That was the problem.
Just working hard at practice in that little hot room. You just...
Yeah. And it's quite a balance because your diet, you know, it's like the food that you eat, the work that you do, everything that you put into this is all geared towards that weight, geared towards fighting. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, also with the 170 thing, like, I felt great, my energy levels were high because I was doing it right, but at the same time, I noticed my muscles shrinking, and my body was kind of getting skinnier, and I'm already I'm lanky, so I don't look like I'm that muscular, but
well, you're strong, but your legs were starting to look like logos.
No, come on.
Dude, they were starting to look like logo Q-tip legs.
I don't know.
You call a lawyer, sue somebody for non-support for them legs.
He's gonna kill you.
Love you, logo. So the plan as it stands now, Shaney said to me the other day, we were talking about how long it was going to be before his next fight. We've been playing it by ear to see how his body feels, to see if he's going to be ready for the next fight, to see when the next fight's going to be. And Shaney, like me, it takes a lot of inspiration to get you to move to the I don't know, to do as much as you really want to do. In my head, I want to do a lot of things, but it takes me a lot of inspiration. Apparently, it's the same with him because he looked at me, he goes, Dad, you got to get me a fight because I need a goal to work towards so that I work a lot harder. So we got Mike Polvere is Cage Titans. He's the only game in town now because no one else has got any fights scheduled for 2014. And I believe nobody else is going to have any other fights. So if you want to see a fight, it's going to be with Mike Polvere at Cage Titans at Memorial Hall. I don't believe there's going to be any more at the Jungleplex this year anyways. So Mike's got one coming up this coming week, or in 2 weeks on June 15th. Or no, I'm sorry, what's the date? We'll ask Mike in a little bit, but he's got one coming up in June. And also on August 23rd. So Shane is going to shoot for the August 23rd?
Yeah. You know, after all that, I was so excited to get back to training and everything. And once I got back, I was like, wow, I kind of really want to fight. But I definitely wasn't ready. I had no strength. I couldn't throw kicks. I could, but very lightly. And after working with Mark and after hitting the bag and stuff down here and going to a couple classes at CCFA, I haven't been there much, but I just realized that I kind of need something like a set goal. You can have this goal of being champion and everything, but once it's set in stone, it's kind of, all right, now it's time to buckle down and train for me.
Correct. Exactly.
You know, and I believe once I get started and keep the ball rolling, I'll constantly be able to be there and constantly get more excited to train.
Yeah. So. Now Shane's job. Shane's got plans to be a fireman. He's going to go through the EMT and the paramedics training to get him there. In the meantime, while we're waiting for all this stuff to happen, his sole job, well, except for a few hours a week for me, his job is going to be to train to become a professional fighter. He is going to train 4, 5, 6 hours a day, 5, 6 days a week, whatever it takes. We have all the best coaches in the planet lined up to be able to work with Shane and to teach him, who basically he's been using already, a lot of them. He's got a new one. What's the new guy that's coming in, the boxing coach?
We have Dave Gleason.
Mr. Gleason. Dave Gleason's going to come in and he's going to work with us when we get back. We're going to go on a short vacation to recover from this long winter. And then when we get back, we're going to go see Mike's show. And Shane's got an appointment right down here in the cage at Hard Knocks Hollow. And we're going to work with Mr. Gleason. We're going to work with Mr. Johnny Johnson. We're going to work with Loco Lobo as usual, Pat Schultz, Giuliano Coutinho, Chip Pollard, everybody. You know, we got the band of brothers all lined up. We're going to make it happen. We're going to take a shot. Shane's a smart kid. He's got to go for that fireman thing. He's got to get a real career lined up ahead of him, just in case this doesn't pan out the way we expect it to. But I think he's got a good shot.
Yeah, I mean, this has been the goal since I was, 11 years old?
Yeah, 10, 11 years old. Yeah, exactly.
The little pad, so I don't know why stop now. I've gotten this.
If I was in your shoes, kid, I'm living vicariously through him. If I was in his shoes, a young kid, all his talent and ability, I wish to be able to go for it. That's why I support it. So, folks, thanks for coming. to another Fireside Chat with Shane, the future Mulligan, and Michael, the Hammer Mulligan. Hey, folks, Michael, the Hammer Mulligan here with Michael Polvere. What's up, Mike?
How's it going, Hammer? How you doing?
Awesome. So, we're down in the cage at Hard Knocks Hollow. We're going to talk about Michael's next fight at Memorial Hall in Plymouth.
Yeah, we got June 21st, Cage Titans 19. It's been a little over 4 years, our 19th event. But we're back at Plymouth Memorial Hall, our home base, so to speak, June 21st. We're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, Mike's the only show in town now this year. There's nobody else going to be doing any shows in Plymouth this year. I know Cage FX is going to do nothing this year at all in Plymouth. And, so Mike's, if you're going to watch a show in Plymouth, number one, Memorial Hall is the premier place to go just because of the Coliseum seating. You can see everything no matter where you sit. And tell me, what else? We always talk about the fights. What else happens inside there? What else do we do at these events?
At the events, we're always, we're pretty tied into the community, so we're always trying to do something to kind of give back.
Sure.
Last event, we gave back to MS.
Yep.
One of our head of operations, his cousin has MS, and they're doing a fundraiser. That night, we raised over $1,000 for MS.
Yep.
We also sometimes we have live bands opening the shows.
Sure.
This upcoming June 21st, we have a tribute going on. It's going to be the year anniversary of Shane Stevenson, who passed away.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
He passed away June 7th last year, and this is June 21st, so this is going to be the first year anniversary. We're going to do a tribute to him. We're actually debuting, so to speak, a Shane Stevenson Award.
Nice.
That we're going to give away, a yearly award to a fighter who exemplifies what it means to be a fighter. That they're in it for the passion, for the love of the game. They don't care who they're fighting. They show up. They put on a show. They give it their all.
Make weight. Do everything that they're supposed to do.
And and it doesn't matter if it win or lose. One of the things that Shane said to me when he was alive is, I don't care if I win or lose. I want to make sure I'm better than I was my fight before.
Nice.
And he never said no to a fight. And he trained because he loved it. And that's what we really want to pass this award on in his memory.
Well, that's good. Now, they serve food and alcohol, that type of thing?
All that good stuff. We actually, Plymouth South Culinary, I guess it's their school department or something, they actually run the kitchen.
Oh, that's great.
So they have food, pizzas, hot dogs, all the basic stuff. Course, fights, beer. You got beer.
Exactly.
So, of course, we can't have a dry event.
When I talk about food at the fights, the only thing that I see in my head is Josh Diekman walking back to the pizza stand with like 5 slices of pizza.
Yeah.
Every time I seen him, the last time I was there, when I saw him there, he just kept going back and forth. I'm not fighting.
Yeah, it's so funny. Diekman was at our last fight, and I never really formally met him. He's a big guy, for those who don't know.
Yeah.
And he was sitting with a couple other guys that I know. So I just kind of came up behind him. I said, what, they put all the babies, a little different word, in the back row. Yeah. And he looks at me like he wanted to kill me. And I was like, whoa. It was just kind of a funny moment because I never really met him.
What a way to go.
Yeah,
what a way to meet him.
And here I am joking,
by the way,
and he doesn't even know who I am. And I was like, hey, how's it going? I'm Mike, by the way. It was pretty funny with Diekman since you brought him up.
His look anyways. I think if he was going to kiss his girlfriend, he'd have that look.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
One of his girlfriends.
You said it, Josh, not me.
So anyways, all right, so let's talk about some of the fights that you got going on.
Yeah, this fight card's huge for us. We have right at the top, I'll just start right from the top.
Yeah.
Main events, let's get right to it. Johnny Cupcakes Campbell. He was in our main event last fight, won a nice decision against a highly decorated wrestler in Robbie LaRue.
Yep.
Huge win for Johnny. He looked great in the fight. It was a great fight by both fighters. He's back. I want to say he's fighting Cody Norby.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about this fight, I want to say not even a week after the Cupcakes versus LaRue fight, which was back in April, I get an email from Cody's manager. And just kind of introduced, hey, I'm Cody Norby's manager. He hasn't fought in well over a year, but he wants to come back, and he specifically wanted me to email you and ask for cupcakes. And he says, he goes, excuse me for my ignorance, I don't know his first name, I don't know his last name, all I know is he said he wants cupcakes.
And I didn't know if it was a hunger thing or a fight thing.
So, I was like, okay, let me see what I can do. And sure enough, I reached out to Campbell's manager, Johnny Cupcakes Campbell. His manager, he said, wow, this is a first. Usually Campbell's kind of like the trash talker, kind of abrasive one. So he does the calling out. And he actually got called out. So it was a new role reversal Cody Norby, formidable opponent. He was former #1 ranked when he was back fighting. He was a promotional champion for a different organization.
Yep.
Undefeated amateur. He was #1 ranked as a pro. He's taken a little over a year off, and once we made the fight, he's like, I want main event. I want people knowing I'm back.
There you go.
And he said I'm back.
He's not picking cupcakes because cupcakes sounds easy. He's picking cupcakes because...
So our co-main event, so I'll go down the line.
Sure.
Co-main event, #2 ranked Ramo Cottarelli, taking on #5 ranked Theo Desjardins in the 125 little guy division. Yeah, flyweight division.
Yeah. It's so entertaining.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, and it's really nice to see because you don't see it too often when guys in the top 10 fight each other. He's an exciting fighter. He looks to finish. One of the fights I'll never forget with him, he was in a back-and-forth fight in his pro debut against Shane DeCristoforo. And I think it probably could have been 1-1. It's the third round. Ramo's on top with about 30 seconds left. And he could have just stayed on top and just finished and, and eked out the decision. About 10 seconds left. He falls back from mount for an armbar. And he gets the tap with like 8 seconds left in the fight. And that just shows that killer instinct.
Never leave it in the hand of the judge.
Yeah, and I'm always going to look up to him. I know he's a little guy. That's a comment that you would say. But, I'll always look up to him because that just shows that killer instinct and that true fighter mentality. Theo, when he had his first fight, just to give you some idea how long he's been fighting, Ramo was a freshman in high school.
Wow.
Theo's been around for a while. He really found a home at 125. Another little tidbit of information, I actually fought him in my pro debut.
Oh, no way.
I fought him at 142 pounds.
How'd you do?
I beat him in the second round. But now Theo has found his home at 125. I'll give Theo credit. I was much bigger than him, so it was a little easier fight for me. But he's found his home at 125. He's 3-1 at the weight class. And now he's ranked #5, so it's going to be a great fight.
Beautiful. Nice.
We got 4 of our amateur titles up for grabs. 2 champions are defending the title. We have Manny Bermudez out of South Shore Sports Fighting. I think he's #1 ranked at 135. He's our amateur title holder. He's taking on Alan Edgecombe out of Metal Dog Muay Thai.
Metal Dog Muay Thai. Where are they from?
It's up in New Hampshire. Alan's been kind of chirping, trying to get Manny's attention. He asked for the fight the last 2 or 3 times. Finally, we were able to put it together. He's got great stand-up. I was on Facebook last night, actually, and he 4 weeks and counting until I put Manny to sleep.
Let's move on.
Next, we have Mario Gonzalez, who's the #2 ranked heavyweight in New England. He's 4-1. He's our Cage Titans defending champion. He's taken on former title holder Nick Fontecchio. At 155 pounds, we have Jimmy Manning, CCFA.
Sure, Jimmy the Tooth.
Jimmy the Tooth.
Jimmy the Tooth Manning.
Looked really great and impressive in his last fight. I mean,
awesome.
a 30-second submission.
Humble guy, great. His daughter is a phenom, right?
Yeah.
His daughter's at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. She's a phenom. She did great at Naga.
Yeah, so this is an awesome fight because Jimmy, purple belt in Jiu-Jitsu, taking on Boston Muay Thai's Dan Lopez, who's 5-2.
Stand-up.
Stand-up guy. This is a great classic stand-up. Can Dan keep it standing? And if he does, he probably has the advantage. And then in the 125-pound division, we have #2 ranked Chris Motino from Rivera Athletics. He's taking on undefeated 3-0 Davis Roast from Sid Yatong.
Nice.
And last but not least, we're off the amateur title fights, but I'll jump real back to pros real quick. We were talking about it before we went on camera. We got Peter Barrett.
Nice.
Taking on Lionel
Slippery.
Young.
I love Lionel. I gotta say, Lionel has got to be one of Shane's, my son's, favorite fans. I mean, he is so about Shane. Every time he sees him and talks to him, he texts him. Facebooks him, but he loves watching Shane fight. So, and I was saying and I like Lionel, great guy, great personality, funny. He's watched him fight a lot of hard battles, and I said to him, he says, saw his thing saying that he was getting ready for training camp, and he was all about it. And I said, you need to come down here and do some, at CCFA and do some sparring with some great guys. So, anyways, Peter Barrett and Lionel Young.
Yeah, Peter Barrett and Lionel Young is a great fight. We're really excited. Peter, Lionel, they used to be training partners together. Peter Barrett was our former amateur 145-pound champion. His last 2 fights were against beasts in the amateur ranks.
Sure.
I mean, he knocked out Russo, who was 5-0 at the time, and that's how he won that.
We were all worried about that fight because that kid was such a phenom. He was amazing. He was just. We watched him. He's like the Mad Russian. We were like, holy.
And no one wanted to fight him. And Pete's like, I'll fight that kid. And we made it for our belt. And Pete knocked him out in the first round, 20 seconds.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Great fight. And then he comes back and says, I'm going to defend it. I don't want to go pro yet. Who do you got for me? Give me the toughest guy you can find. And we brought in.
And that's excuse me. That's huge for him because a lot of people say that you do not own the belt until you defend it.
Yeah, and that was great. He wanted to be a true champion.
Yep.
He defended the belt against the toughest you can find. We brought in Renzo Gracie, Connecticut's Nestor X, another phenom, 4-0 at the time when he was challenging Pete for the belt. All first-round submissions. And just to give you an example, Lionel, Pete and him are kind of going back and forth a little bit, and Pete's like, I'm going to knock you out like I've knocked the last 3 guys out. And Lionel's like, I've never even been finished. He's like, I've never been knocked out.
Right.
Rob Font, guy
sure.
10-1 right now, is professional, #1 ranked in New England as a pro. And Lionel fought him to a 3-round hard-fought decision.
That's nice.
So
he's a tough kid. It's going to be fun.
Tough fight. It's going to be fun, and we're really pumped up for it.
Is his brother fighting? Is Matt's brother fighting?
Max's brother. Max is Peter's brother. He's an amateur still, 3-2. He'll be fighting on that card. The Barrett brothers. They're always fun and entertaining. So he's going to be on there. We got all those amateur title fights. One amateur fight that I didn't highlight because it wasn't a title fight, but it's pretty interesting. Ricky Proctor.
Oh, sure.
A Plymouth South kid, right?
Yeah.
He's coming back. He's been off a little over a year.
He got hurt.
He separated his shoulder against Russo.
We saw it.
Against Russo, who we were talking about earlier. He was actually fighting Russo for the belt, and he separated his shoulder. He had to have surgery. He's been out for a little over a year, and he's back. And he said, I'm back. I want the belt. So I told him, all right, let's put you in a #1 contender fight. He's going to be taking on Grant Mosley, a purple belt out of Florian Martial Arts. And this is going to be a great fight.
Speaking of which, so I just sat down with the Future in that chair before you.
Nice. I'm a little smaller than him.
Yeah, he's actually growing. He's not going to shoot for the 170 anymore. He's going for 185 again.
Nice.
And his knee is back. He's back. He wants a fight to warm up for. He needs some enthusiasm. He needs some ambition. So if you got one for him, when's your next one after this?
We got August 23rd already lined up at Plymouth Memorial Hall. We got November 8th. We have 4 fighters this June show coming up.
At 185?
So
there you have it.
I'm sure we'll see Shane in the front row taking notes. You call me up, tell me which one you want. We'll set it up.
So whichever the best one out of those is the one that Shane wants.
Now that's what we want to hear.
That's what he even told me. He goes, he says, we sat there and we talked about it. He says, there's 4 185s fighting. They're going to be looking for another one. So what he said to me, he goes, I said, they're all 0-0. He goes, 0-0. He goes, I don't want an 0-0. I says, well, after these, they're not going to be 0-0. They're going to have a win under their belt. He says, well, whoever the best out of the 4 is the one that I want to fight because I don't want to go in easy. He says, so there you have it.
There we have it. And that's, like I said, the theme of today is, real fighters want to fight. At the time, Shane will be 2-0. He'll fight a 1-0. We'll match it up and make it happen.
Then we'll start looking for the title after that one.
Well, it's that title hunting. There we go. That's what we like to hear.
All right. So, did you decide any more on any 4th of July stuff?
We're actually we're going to be involved. We talked a little earlier about trying to be involved in the community, MS, and we've done other things. We're going to be taking part in the Plymouth 4th of July parade.
Nice.
So we're going to put together a little float. We really haven't come up with the logistics. We'll probably be calling on you and your contractor expertise. But we want to build like a nice little cage, back of a float, and just tie into the community. We've been involved in Plymouth for the last 3 years that we've been doing fights. We've adopted a Plymouth family over Christmas before where we helped donate presents.
You're going to be living here eventually, right?
Eventually, we'll be living here. Miss Cage Titans, Shelly, she's from Plymouth. She's a Plymouth South graduate. So, that's where a little bit of our roots are going to end up being. So, we'll be involved in the 4th of July parade. And we're going to have a fun time.
Now, quickly, before we disappear here, because we're running out of time, tell me a little bit about the Cage Girl contest and when the...
so he wants to get down to the real stuff. So, Cage Titans, we're looking for new ring girls for June 21st. We have 3 upcoming ring girl searches at Main Street Sports in Plymouth, right downtown Plymouth, a couple blocks from the venue. We're doing it Saturday, May 30th, Saturday, June 6th, and Saturday, June 13th. We're going to hopefully have Michael the Hammer Mulligan on site for the finale on the 13th.
I'll be there for the 13th. I'll be away before that. We'll be out getting a little recovery from this long New England winter.
Yeah, so there you go. He'll be retiring down to Florida. So when you get back,
Let's get a little white, right?
yeah,
This time?
we'll have the Hammer on site for finale on June 13th at Main Street Sports. in
Main
Plymouth.
Street Sports in Plymouth, June 13th, and the other dates were.
May 30th and June 6th.
So what are the girls going to do if they want to be part of this? They're going to show up May 30th
Yep.
for the first day,
Yep.
and then you kind of go
Kind of
through.
narrow it down. So May 30th, we'll have we'll take the best girls from that night. And then on June 6th, we'll take the best girls from that night. Come up for the finale on June 13th. We have a bunch of the fighters coming in as guest judges along with the Hammer.
Nice.
And we'll have some fun.
Awesome. There we go, folks. Well,
Girls fight spears.
Thank you very much for coming again, Michael. It's
Yeah.
been a while, like I said. We've been off for the winter. We've been extremely busy. We're back for the summer. We're going to have lots more shows coming at you. We're down here in the cage at Hard Knocks Hollows. We're going to have some guys down here rolling around. So when we do shows, we're going to do a little, we're going to try and do a little a lesson after the show or as part of the show with the people that come and speak. So we're slowly getting back into gear for the summer, but look forward to doing more shows and look forward to see you at the fights. Thanks for coming to another Fireside Chat with Michael Polvere and Michael the Hammer Mulligan.
Thank you.